Sweet bruises, Princess. Didn't realize Fort Kessler offered spa packages. The taunt sliced through the sleepy dawn like a dull knife. Private Wade Huxley smirked as he sidled back into formation, pitching his voice just loud enough for everyone to catch it. That was the goal. Sergeant Grace Mallory stood alone on the dusty training ground, tank top drenched in sweat, grit glued to her skin like a second set of fatigues. Purple-green bruises spotted her arms and traced her collarbone, marks you don't get in one unlucky tumble, but over grinding days. Bruises that linger. Her knuckles were scraped raw, her gait barely uneven, yet her stance never wavered. Behind her, the squad shifted. A few snickered, others watched with bored curiosity. She was the newcomer, technically the first woman assigned to Bravo Squad in 2 years. No welcome speech, no bio. All anyone knew was she'd been sent on special directive, whatever that meant. Rumors drifted through the barracks overnight. Some claimed she was recovering from an injury. Others swore she was just a paper pusher, out to prove she could hack it with ground troops. Grace answered none of it. No flinch, no blink. That silence irritated Huxley more than he'd confess. "How many push-ups do you have to botch to crack a wrist, Sarge?" he pressed, grinning lazily. "Or did you trip over that oversized ego again?" Low laughter rippled, testing limits. Nobody actually knew her, and where truth is absent, bravado flourishes. What none of them grasped, what not one soldier imagined, was that she hadn't been ordered back. She'd volunteered, not because she needed redemption, but because she carried a debt only she could settle. On a low ridge beyond the course, General Thomas Barclay observed, hands clasped behind him, face unreadable. The moment she climbed out of the Humvee, he'd known. This would not be simple. Grace Mallory never hunted attention, yet history always trailed her. He waited. No intervention. Not yet. She remained motionless in the heat, while half-healed bruises flared under the sun. She didn't defend herself or avert her gaze, because Grace understood one truth. Respect earned in quiet outlasts applause. She looked like she'd crawled through hell, and some already wagered she hadn't made it back. A thin, almost surgical scar below her left eye caught the light. Her shoulders squared, but her stillness wasn't pride. It was something older, deeper. Then the general spoke. Calm, gravel-edged, lethal. Call sign, Widow 27. Sound ceased. Laughter, gossip, even the breeze seemed stunned. Private Huxley blinked, half puzzled, half uneasy. "Widow! What?" General Barclay stepped off the ridge, boots crunching in slow, deliberate rhythm, arms now at his sides, fists easy but tight. "You just shot your mouth at Widow 27, son." Silence didn't merely fall, it coiled. Every man felt pulled into something vast and unknown. Near the rear, Private Keller, Arizona kid with 5 military brothers, exhaled sharply. "No way," he breathed. "That's her." Another cadet's eyes widened. They'd swapped the name in late-night briefings like campfire legends. Widow 27 wasn't a soldier. She was a myth. Stories claimed she vanished from comms for 5 days, only to reappear dragging a bleeding teammate through gunfire. But that was camp lore, exaggerated. Surely not this bruised, dust-covered woman, right? Barclay halted astride from Huxley, scrutinizing him like a gathering storm. "You don't need to know the story," he rumbled, "but you'd better remember the name." Behind Grace, an older instructor rose to attention. not by regulation, but by instinct. A new current rippled through the formation, not mere quiet, but realization. Ever heard of Operation Ghost Line? Barclay's tone was dangerously even, the hush before glass shatters. Huxley stayed mute too long. Finally, he muttered, "No, sir." The general faced the platoon. His volume never lifted. 4 years ago, a 7-man recon team dropped beyond the land divide. Ice, altitude, hostility. Mission window 48 hours. Day 2, ambush. 2 dead outright. 1 bled out before dawn. 1 missing, never found. 3 remained. 1 had shrapnel piercing his lungs. Another, comms specialist, was unconscious. The last took a round through the thigh, ribs cracked. No morphine, 12 miles of frozen nothing between them and maybe a pickup. Eyes drifted to Grace. She hadn't moved. She hefted the comms tech over her shoulders, dragged the bleeding man on a sled made from torn pack straps, and a snapped rifle. No backup, no birds in the sky, just grit. The field held its breath. Grace, however, was elsewhere, hearing snow crunch, feeling blood freeze, recalling a friend whisper, "If I pass out, don't stop." Under the Wyoming sun, her hands balled until nails cut palms. Not rage, memory. Barclay's voice cracked the trance. "Think she's chasing glory. She came back because not everyone leaves the fire when they escape the flames." Even the cockiest soldiers dropped their gaze. The general inhaled, slow and weighty. Command didn't assign her here as a favor. Sergeant Grace Mallory had every right to retire. Full honors, clear conscience. She refused. Heads shifted. She requested the hardest billet we offer. Field instructor for pre-deployment cadets. That's you. She didn't return for ribbons or recruitment posters. She returned because she remembers what happens when training fails. Wordless understanding settled over them. Leadership sometimes wears no parade gloss, just bruises, a locked jaw, and silence that burns. Now they saw not a pity transfer, but the volunteer, the survivor, the teacher you shut up and learn from. Huxley left the grounds later with shoulders caved, swagger gone, trailed by a heavier quiet than shouting ever makes. That evening, the mess hall hummed its usual low rhythm, cutlery, trays, but conversations hushed. In a far corner at a 6 top, Sergeant Mallory ate alone, posture unchanged, chewing slow and deliberate, expecting nothing. Then they arrived. 1 recruit, then another, then 2 more. No apologies, no speeches, just silent trays sliding onto steel. Occasional glances met her face. Not pity, not guilt. Recognition. They finally saw her. A young private leaned close, whisper thin, "Why, widow 27? She didn't lift her eyes. Voice steady. "Because I've buried 26 of my team. I'm 27. The table froze. No follow-up. The silence that followed was not awkward. It was sacred. She wasn't there to impress or collect medals. Real leaders come back, even when it hurts, even when they're still bleeding. So the next generation learns what strength truly is. Strength doesn't beg for light. It bleeds quietly, drills without praise, and stares down bravado until respect remembers its definition. Nobody made a toast that night. Nobody said thank you. They didn't have to. They stayed. She didn't eat alone.